I'm Brandon. I'm a web designer for Serenity Design, and in our last video I showed you some quick apps that we use on the iPad Pro. However, today I thought I'd take you on a very whistle-stop tour on the apps that we use on the PC. Now here I've got a MacBook Pro and we've got tons of apps, but I'll show you again the top three that we use. So on the Mac we use primarily these apps here. So we use mainly Adobe apps. So the main one that we use is not there, it's down here. So we mainly use Photoshop. Photoshop is a great application to use. You create a new project and then you enter this screen. So this is a pre-made thing that we've done. If you follow us on Instagram you may have seen it. But Photoshop can be quite a heavy app to use if you're just beginning, so I would suggest doing something like a course on it or sort of playing around with the tools and getting familiar with it, because it can be quite overwhelming. However, the main parts of the app that you need to remember is this panel here. So this, where my cursor is now, is the layers. So each of these colored texts are a layer. So if you click the eye, you make the layer disappear. If you drag, then you can reposition. You can drag the elements as well. If you go up here to this panning tool, you can drag the layers wherever you like. They're all malleable. And if you're playing with text, you come down to the T down here, click on there, and then you can edit the text as you go. So in terms of the app itself, once you get to know it and get to use it, then it's quite simple to use. However, if you are new to designing, then I think Photoshop would be quite a heavy app to jump into. But we do use a few more. So another app that's very similar to Photoshop, but depends in terms of what design you're doing, but we also use Illustrator. So this is more for vector-based designing. So if you need to create anything with lines, very geometric design, and also a lot of brush tools are useful here. So again, just like Photoshop, you create a new project. You do have some pre-made ones here, but we'll just click Web and Common, and then we'll create this as a test, and then wait for it to load. So Illustrator, you use it for morphing shapes and brushes. So if you're into more drawing and digital designs, stuff like that, Illustrator is the app to use. Photoshop is very much more in terms of changing and manipulating already made designs. However, if you want to create something from scratch with brushes, then Illustrator is the place to go. So very similar to design to Photoshop. You have your brushes here. So for example, you've got your paintbrush, you've got curvature tools, you have got text here as well. So yeah, so again, very much like Photoshop, it's an incredibly feature-rich app. It does require a lot of working in terms of learning how to use the app. However, it is possible to use on the Mac quite a lot actually, is something called Sketchbook, and it's right here. We've got it open already. So here it is. It's really simple to use piece of software. Unlike Photoshop and Illustrator, it's quite a simple entry-level system to use. So if you want to use something that's quite a bit simpler and a bit less intrusive than the Adobe apps, then this is definitely the app to use. Let me get back onto the brushes. So you've got different brushes. So we've got the airbrush, we've got the highlighter, and we also have a calligraphy pen. So these are the basic brushes that we can use on this app. And this concludes the last app that we use on the PC to design. So make sure you look out for our next video where we'll be going into more basics in terms of digital calligraphy. So I hope you enjoy this video. Please like and subscribe, and if you haven't already, we do a lowdown on apps that we use on the iPad as well as the Mac. So thank you, and